Hello. So, for one, I have no idea if I'm in focus or not. I'm hoping that I am. But, in other news, I have a new camera, which is something that I really wanted to do before making new videos for you guys, just because I felt like the previous videos, no matter what I did, could not get a good enough quality for me to want to keep uploading. And it took me a little bit to get here, but we are here. On top of that, I have a new computer coming, so that way I can edit and hopefully that software will be better as well. Again, has taken me a little bit to get here, but I'm very glad that we are here. And I have a bunch of news, so I figured we would kind of just go over 2024 for me and talk about just how crazy everything was, because things are probably going to get a little hectic for me in the next coming month or two. But then after that, I will have a lot of fun content to give you guys. And that's kind of why I wanted to start off, was actually what to expect, and then we can talk about what's happened. So, my husband and I are moving yet again. And if you're wondering, didn't you just move? The answer is yes. I moved in June from Rhode Island to Georgia. And now we're moving from Georgia to New York. And we actually just made the biggest purchase that I've ever made in my life. And probably the biggest purchase we'll ever make in both of our lives, because we bought a Victorian home. And I'm very excited for it. And I had put on my Instagram, which if you only follow me on YouTube, that's completely cool. But I do put a lot of different videos that are, or not videos, a lot of posts and stories that will do polls or kind of see what you guys would be interested in for YouTube. So I recommend getting on my Instagram, just so that way if you have things that you want to say, to be able to put your opinion in. But we are going to be redoing some of the home, and what I mean by that is I'm not going to be making it a millennial gray, but I'm going to almost redo it in a way that would be more historically accurate to the time that the home was built. And another crazy thing about this house is we bought a house without ever being inside of it. We've never seen it in person. We have a really great realtor who has toured it. She sent us videos of it, a walkthrough, and she is absolutely amazing. We know that we love this house, and I can honestly say that the main selling point for us were our new staircase, which I'm going to put a little thing right here for it. So that's very fun. But let's talk about 2024. So, in 2023, you all know that I got married, or I think that you know. I'm not too sure how much I've told you guys, but I got married in March of 2023. In June of 2023, my husband got shipped off to Korea, and I did not get to see him for about a year. So I spent all of 2023 and most of the beginning of 2024 opening a larger goth salon that I then ended up giving to the girls that worked for me. So as of January, it was decided that in June I would be moving to Georgia with my husband. And this would be the first time I actually got to live with him, which was very exciting and nerve-wracking and a lot of feelings, just because of the fact that we didn't know what was coming. And 2024 was a good year, but also a bad year. There was just a lot that went on. And if you know what happened in 2024, you know what I mean. But either way, we'll get into it. So, pretty much, March, he was able to come home, and I got to see him for our 1-year wedding anniversary. After that, we moved in together in technically June, but he was off for an entire month at the beginning of June, and we spent most of June traveling. So we went to Washington, we went to Maryland, and then we drove from Rhode Island to Georgia with 2 cars and my cats, and didn't have our stuff for an entire month. I can't remember if this part started in 2023 or if it started in 2024. However, at some point, either in the beginning of 2024 or end of 2023, my friend Sarah and her friend Minji ended up opening a company called the Mythmakers Society. And they started hosting balls and a bunch of other events, and it has brought forth a really beautiful community. But we got to be a part of that community, and it really brought a lot of new friends into my life at a time where I did not think that I wanted friends. And it was so funny because it almost kind of like forced me to open back up instead of being in this hardened shell that I brought myself to. So that was fun and interesting, but it has turned out so beautiful. So with all of this, during May of 2024, I got to go to a vampire ball in Salem, Massachusetts, and that was so fun. After I moved to Georgia, I felt my creative process almost slow down, and I stepped away really from doing a lot of hair. I still tried, however, it's hard whenever you are in a new community, especially because hair is such a thing clientele-wise that you build up over time. But having less time to work has built up a lot of me being able to find new skills and relive things that have made me happy that I'd completely forgotten about. So in the later part of 2024, I ended up relearning how to sew with a machine. I bought a new machine, and I have been working on so many projects. I've even learned how to make corsetry from just being at home. In August of 2024, we got a puppy, and his name is William. And here's a cute little photo of William. And now that puppy is 7 months old and almost 90 pounds. So he is a very, very big boy. And he is expected to be about 6 feet tall on his hind legs and 200 pounds when he is fully grown. He's a St. Bernard Great Pyrenees mix, and the cats hate him. That is a very often question I get asked, is how do the cats feel about him? They hate him. Hopefully this move will help them get along, so that way the cats aren't like, this is my territory, but we will see. Another part of us getting a house is so that way William can have a nice backyard. Where I am moving is even more north than Toronto, Canada, and it is in the area that gets the lake snow effect. So there are chances that I would get 13 feet of snow within 2 days, which means there's going to be a lot of fun winter content that we can do, especially as I've gotten more into the fantasy side of things. And I think the reason why I'm telling all of this to you is I do still love the dark romantic, the Victorian goth, but I feel myself slowly changing into more of a fantasy and historical person compared to something that I almost like trapped myself into, which was the goth niche box. And it's so funny because I remember whenever I first learned of Gothic culture, I was still in middle school. And I would take a notebook and I would write down everything that I could about the politics, the music, the clothing, the different types of goth that were in style at the time. And I think ever since that time, I had almost locked myself away into what I thought that I had to be in order to be a part of the community. And I've had a lot of honestly awful experiences inside the community that I never spoke out about because I didn't want to like rock the boat. And I will say that there are some lovely things in the community, especially whenever it is able to bring people forward. I will say one of my favorite things that is able, or one of my favorite places that has really been building the community and being a safe place for many people is Vamp Things and the Endless Night Balls. Which, funny enough, because of my friend Sarah hosting the Mythmakers Balls, I was reached out to by the Endless Night community and got to go to the Endless Night Vampire Ball of New Orleans on Halloween weekend, which was amazing. It was something very, very unique. It was at the House of Blues. I believe it is every year. But there were live performances, and it was just such a beautiful community to get to see. And because it was in New Orleans and because it was Halloween weekend, a lot of people had traveled from out of town. So it was so fun to hear everyone's life, pretty much. I think that is the part of the Gothic culture that I truly enjoy, is the togetherness. But I do feel myself stepping away. Not entirely, but I am slowly going away from that. I have even noticed my sense of style changing, and who knows, this might just be me going into my adult goth form instead of my teenage form where I was wearing corsetry every day, sleeping in my corset, constantly having to do my romantic goth makeup, and just feeling like I had to really push myself outward into that culture. But yeah, so I'm gonna put a couple little videos that I've gotten throughout the year, and just kind of, we can reminisce on 2024. Some of the bad parts of 2024 were I moved to Georgia. I don't like it here. On top of that, I moved to Georgia the year that Hurricane Helene hit, and it did affect my town. We still have parts of town that are not open. One thing that is so minuscule in the grand scheme of things is none of the dog parks have even opened back up, and it is now January of 2025 because Georgia has not gotten a lot of help that it needs. However, I will say that most of the help has gone to other states that have needed it more, like North Carolina. But yeah, so Georgia just never has fully recovered from Hurricane Helene. My husband had a car that we had just bought. We hadn't even got the temporary tags off, and it got smushed by 2 trees during the hurricane. And we had to evacuate our home for a week or 2, and even when we came back, we really didn't have power. We had to be careful with our water because it had been contaminated. Just quite a lot happened there. And something that was quite fun that is still currently happening is Georgia got snow, which most Georgians are not used to, so people are reacting quite differently to it. But as a Rhode Islander, / everywhere that I've lived, I'm used to snow. However, in Georgia they don't even salt for snow, so you get trapped in your house for a day or two until everything thaws. But yeah, that has been my 2024. I'm very excited for 2025 in order to have more video content to give you guys and in order to share this new stage of our lives with you. As always, I would love to hear your comments, concerns, what you would like to see. If you think that you do want to see our updates on our Victorian home as we go along. I'm planning on filming probably 1 week at a time, editing the video that I get of that week, and then going through kind of condensing it into what was fun to see, and then giving that to you guys. But yeah, I would love to hear your opinion, and I'll see you next time. Alright guys.